Everything's starting to grow. The first interesting thing I read today, apparently that show, the Drone Racing League, has changed, I guess, networks. I believe they were with ESPN, but now apparently it's on NBC, and apparently they're gonna live stream it for free on Twitter. The 2019 DRL Alliance World Championship season is coming to NBC and Twitter. Tune in on August 11, 2019 at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And some quotes about the change. Apparently it says they had a great 3-year partnership with ESPN and credit the sports network for being a key factor for its growth, with over 57 million fans tuning in during those 3 seasons. He added that DRL was drawn to NBC due to its heritage with racing sports such as NASCAR, IndyCar, and Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, as well as the network's history of being forward-thinking about developing relationships with newer properties. I've actually never seen a full episode or anything like that in terms of this Drone Racing League, just stuff that I read since I read about like the drone news and stuff like that. I would imagine either way it's good, more variety the better, because everybody connects with something differently. Like in this case, like funny enough, I would assume a lot of people watch it for like potential crashes and stuff like that. I've never been too into things like NASCAR and Indy racing, but even when I talk to people sometimes, like even I wonder like, they're just circling around the track over and over. And one person actually said to me, yeah, but they could crash any second and so forth. I would still like an opportunity to actually fly the drone and capture a speeding car somewhere too. I still think it would be cool, but where would you actually do that? Thank you for the congrats on the 800th entry too. Actually, I think you're actually the first person that commented on a number milestone like that. So you made internet history. And speaking of which, today apparently is the 30th anniversary of the World Wide Web, and a lot of companies were showing how their sites looked in the very beginning. For example, sites like Amazon, can you imagine like the site like that nowadays? This probably has like no SSL or anything like that, where many people that would freak out nowadays, like doing transactions in that way. Even companies like Microsoft showing the older versions of their Windows. I'm surprised I didn't see much reference for things, I guess, like AOL. That's still like a joke even nowadays for some memes, where I guess you get like all these AOL discs that they sent to everyone in their house to subscribe for the internet, so you can pretty much make like a landfill of those discs. Well, keep in mind, because I know a lot of people would be confused, it's not the birthday or anniversary of the internet, it's the World Wide Web. I would imagine the internet in general has been used like way longer than we would have imagined, probably like in the military and stuff like that. So the founder of the World Wide Web, the Tim Berners-Lee, basically made comments and stuff today saying like, in 1990 I coded up the foundational technologies for the World Wide Web. And with that he uploaded like this little timeline. You can see things like building blocks to the www, HTML, UDI, HTTP. I still see this stuff all the time, but I guess nowadays it's more like PHP, server-side script, or am I going way too geeky here? For me personally, I think the World Wide Web has been fantastic to enable even people like myself just to communicate with people all over the world, to publish an idea where normally I guess it would be out of means for a lot of people. But of course with tech, with the good, there's the bad. So there's basically articles talking how he's expressing his, I guess, concerns for how it's evolving as well. It says, but in spite of all the good things the internet has given us over the past 30 years, its creator is dubious over whether its existence has actually done much good to the world. In fact, Tim Berners-Lee, the actual inventor of the World Wide Web, doesn't always like what he sees online. In the era of hacking, harassment, hate speech, and fake news, we can't 100% blame him either. Everybody uses the tool differently, of course, because for a person like me that basically just writes my thoughts and all that, or just talk about it, how else would you have had access to that if you think about it? Or even creating things for fun like the drone video, like a traditional avenue would have been, a person like myself probably would have had no opportunity to do that. I still think one of my favorite examples is how before I got like this spam email, I thought it was so ridiculous. Like the company was basically, in my opinion, preying on people's emotions to pay money for some kind of recognition. Like I thought it was so silly that I wrote about it just to like warn other people like, hey, maybe you should keep your wallet safe and all that. And then, would you know it, like so many people around the internet are like, hey, I got this too. And some people actually like almost fell for it and all that, but because everyone got together around the internet, it basically made things great to help save people things like money and all that. But of course with like things like harassment and so forth, people using it for the bad. I mean, funny enough, in that situation, the company was actually sending like fake commenters and stuff like that, like to harass me. But fortunately, there's just so much overwhelming support people coming together, like in the internet that way, it ended up for the better. The good guys won, I guess you could say. Like, I guess that was my example of, I didn't know kind of really expecting anything. I just put something out there, and I guess people used it as a central talking point to create better things. So for me, anyway, that's an example of using the tool for good. Because my personal thought, anyways, for things like, say, fake news or a bad thing and so forth, I think it just comes down to people. Just for some reason, where people on the extreme, like their supporters, they're more active and vocal and actually pushing that forward. Whereas for some reason, for the good part, people usually take like a sideline. So people just need to take more, I guess, action and initiative. All right, see you guys later.